Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Hey everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. You'll notice Jared didn't chime in right there. He is on vacation, traveling the world. Well, at least
that guy takes a lot of vacations.
East Columbus. And we also have
John Esterly with Rare Buzz Effects.
That is correct. He's joining us today because we have an extra special guest tonight, whatever it is for you. This is a good day for us because we have
Markus Reeves from Reeves Electro guitar pedals.
Yes. You've heard us talk about him several times on the show, and no doubt if you are a enthusiast about pedals and you're paying any attention to Instagram, you have seen some of his handiwork, which is nothing short of glorious. So we are really excited to talk to him because this is some work that has really captured our imagination, and it's just going to be really fun. And from what I can tell, he's a pretty good guy.
You've been speaking to my twin brother then.
So, Markus, where are you calling from right now?
I'm in the Midlands of the UK, in my garden shed where I build all the pedals.
Okay, so you're in your garden shed and you have a cup of tea, right? I
do indeed. Yes.
And it's raining.
It's raining. I've got tea in my Abbey Road studio mugs, which I'll get to in a little bit. It's just started raining. So I'm warm, snug. I've got all my favourite toys around me, and I'm on guitar knobs. What better could I do this afternoon?
It can't get any better.
The only thing that would be better is if Paul Hollywood dropped off some scones to you while
this is true. Indeed, yes.
And at the same time,
some moist scones.
Yes.
I've just used the M word already. We're not even 5 minutes in.
That word is. I just got to segue here for a second. I was in charge of the digital end of creative for a lot of hair care brands through the agency, not at P&G. But anyways,
there's a lot of them as well.
Yeah, there are. The word moist was rated as, I believe, the second most undesirable word to hear, and in massive research.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, they had to use it a lot.
I use it as often as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Moist you?
Oh, man, that's terrible. Anyways, I just thought that was one of those things you never really think about it. You're like, okay, yeah, there has been a ton of research done on that. Incredible. Yeah. All right. Well, we've got a fantastic show, so I'm going to keep this moving. We do have a couple of announcements. Markus, do you get a lot of, or do you get mail from fans? I imagine.
Mostly DMs on Instagram. To be honest, that's my kind of main channel of communication. And the odd email every now and again.
Awesome. Well, we do too, and I love reading the ones that I can or paraphrasing some of them if I have to. But this one is from Ben Harder. And he sent us a quick note. He says, what's up, my fellow knobs? My name is Ben. I live an hour north of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So we connected on Minnesota. I lived there for a little while.
Minnesota?
Yeah. I discovered your podcast a few months ago, and now I never miss an episode. Thank you, Ben. You guys have such a broad wealth of knowledge. Not me, mostly Tony, sometimes Jared, occasionally John. And always Rob whenever he's here. I learned something new each week, especially during the Q&A episodes. Thank you so much. I think we might have to do some more of those, the Q&As. I've been playing guitar for 25 years. I usually play metal or ambient music, and I have a really good collection of guitars. I have a 75th anniversary commemorative Fender Telecaster, a Music Man Cutlass, a Gibson Les Paul Traditional Pro 5. That's a lot of description for a Les Paul.
Yeah.
A Mayonnaise Hydra Elite Pro 6 from Poland.
Whoa.
Which I don't even know what it is.
That's left field, isn't it? That one.
It is.
Yeah.
And I had some subsequent chats with him, and he kind of chases the neato rare stuff. A Relish Mary 1 from Switzerland.
I know those Relish guitars. They are, they're quite special.
Yeah.
They're great on hot dogs.
Yeah. That's all Tony's thinking about. A Chapman, I can never, Rabia Masad signature model. I know who he's talking about, and I can never say his name right. Apologies. And a Kiesel Vanquish that I had custom built for my birthday last year. They're all like my children. That's quite a collection of guitars.
That's good. There's some nice oddballs in there.
Yeah,
That's
there
cool.
really are.
Yeah.
And for his amps, he uses a Rev D20 with built-in 2-notes load box. Okay. So that's some heavy-duty noise right there. I've been starting to look for a cab with the ability to go direct into my interface and play through my studio monitors at a reasonable level, so it is convenient. I also use neural DSP plugins. I'll probably get a cab at one point, but it's not a priority. I mean, holy mackerel.
So this is high end kind of gear, isn't it?
Yes. He's probably got a few DIY fuzz kits laying around, but
absolutely,
yeah. Anyway, so we had some other chats, and it was really great talking to Ben and getting to know him a little bit. And we really appreciate when people reach out and share kind words and also a little bit about them, because I think it helps tighten up the community and like go, hey, I'm like that guy, or oh, I've never heard of that, and go chase that stuff.
Absolutely, that's cool.
So thank you, Ben, for sending that
I have
in.
to check out that Polska guitar.
Yeah, well, Tony, because you're from Hungary.
No.
You are hungry.
You're
am hungry, but you're from Poland.
Well, my dad is, and my mom's family was too. So I'm a purebred, baby.
Yeah. So a quick update on Positive Grid.
Yes.
We did just finish up the contest, the Spark amp giveaway, and we were just so thrilled to do that.
Did I win it?
You might have. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I don't have the answers yet.
Who has the answers?
They're running it through the supercomputer of the world, trying to get that research done.
They got the old IBM cranked up.
Yes, that's correct. And while we're waiting, though, they were kind enough to send us a code that will get you $10 off your standard Spark order. Not the Pearl. The Pearl is in like a white or like a tawny kind of... Or what's that?
Tony. It's a Tony.
It's a Tony tawny. It's like a blonde.
A fawn.
They do it.
Fawn.
Oh man, they do a pearl version.
Yes, that's the one.
I didn't even know this.
But this coupon is only for the standard version, which is the black. It kind of looks like front face of a Marshall or something like that. It's beautiful. It's so $10 off.
$10.
You have to use
Extra 10.
all caps.
All caps.
Guitar knobs 10.
Guitar knobs 10.
10. Guitar knobs 10. That will save
right
you
now.
$10 off your Spark order. And also, look around, because I know that they have great deals. Actually, John's buying one right now.
The discount code works. I'm purchasing it right now.
I can't.
Well,
cannot tell you.
If I don't win it, I'm going to buy one. How's that sound? I'm going to use this code.
I like that. You should.
I may well join you there. I've been gassing over. I'm going to swear now. Yamaha THR5 or 10, and you've been going on about these, and I've been looking into them. I think you might have turned my head for a little desktop pedal testing amp.
I think it would be perfect for that. I mean, we've used it extensively. Jared has one. He's been using it a lot down in Nashville. I mean,
I'm probably going to start recording all of the my thing that I can't even
the minute wonders.
1 minute wonder off of the Spark, because it did such a good job.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
do it.
Yeah, well, I may well do.
All right. So in the meantime, as soon as we find that out, we will share that with you. Promise.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
It's going to be exciting. And let's see here. What else we got? I think that's about it. So let's get on with this, shall we? We're going to talk about what's going on in the music world this week as Tony licks the frosting off of his cinnamon roll, off his fingers, and...
I thought I had a few more minutes.
Is that because I talk a lot? It's probably because
well, usually you're spouting words and such from your mouth.
I do, yes. So we're going to check in with Anthony here, and then we're going to find out what Markus is up to. So, Tony, go ahead.
Well, I was this week. I just got my new edition of Vintage Guitar Magazine, and I was curious because they have a new Harmony model, and it's called it's a.
You're going to have to move your cinnamon roll to see the title of what the thing you're talking about.
I see it right there. I have the cinnamon roll strategically placed. Jeez. But anyhow, I had heard that Harmony was somebody essentially, I'm assuming, bought the name and is reissuing these. And according to the article in VG, they said that they are being made. Now I have to verify that because all these guitars, these are for if it is being made in the USA for, I think one model's $1,200, one model's $1,500. That's a pretty good deal. I suspect that they may be doing some hybrid version of manufacturing. But anyhow, even more interesting was they have their repair and main office in the U.S. in the old Gibson factory up in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Oh, no kidding.
So I think that's very cool. And the models are very cool. And I'm assuming that they are better made than the old budget models that came out in the 50s and 60s. So I'm going to check into this a little bit further. But I was just kind of curious, and if anybody out there knows a little bit or owns one of these newer models, shoot us a line and let us know what you think. I'm going to try to track one down somewhere around here. They have a dealer network set up too, but they look really cool. They look like the old guitars. I'm assuming better electronics. The pickups look new, a newer style. In fact, what they're calling gold foil pickups actually look a lot like the screen tops that I have out. So it's kind of an open coil with a screen and then gold foil behind that. So it's pretty cool. So. Definitely worth checking out.
That's a great story, Tony.
Thanks, Todd.
Markus, what is going on in your music world this week?
Well, apart from obviously building a heck ton of pedals, Black Hat Sounds this week with the some really super rare ME 4003 silicon transistors, but I won't nerd out too much about that. They're nearly done and ready to ship. But apart from that, I picked up a broadcast, Hudson broadcast.
Oh yeah,
fun.
Yeah, and I actually went to band practice with it last night, and it's a killer pedal. Now, I received my King of Tone 2 weeks ago.
Oh
boy.
Yeah, and it was a real Simpsons moment, and and if I'm honest.
Oh, here we go. Shoe is dropping. Whoa.
Uh-oh.
It is a great, really, really, really great sounding overdrive, but it's an overdrive, and there's only so many shades of overdrive that you can kind of get, and it's staying. The character is going to stay on the board, but the broadcast has got so much character. It's on a whole nother level for me, and I kind of like things a little bit more gnarly. So it's blown me away, basically.
What is the thing that is blowing away? I know you said it's a little bit more gnarly, so I'm assuming that maybe there's some more range. What's the thing that you said this is it?
Well, it just has a more kind of, I wouldn't say fuzzy, but it's got a more granular kind of texture. It's not as smooth. And it just seems to, I play in a trio, so there's a drums and bass and me on my Tweed Deluxe. And it just has, it's not. It's still quite full frequency, but it seems to be able to carve out its own part of the sonic spectrum much more distinctly, and you can just hear it much more clearly as a player. You can just hear it more in the mix, whereas sometimes when you step on an overdrive, unless it's kind of a clon or a screamer, and I'm not a big fan of either of those, you kind of have to listen out for certain parts of your tone, because sometimes they just kind of weld into everything else. Whereas with the broadcast, it's just there, no extra volume, just like there it is. It's all there. So
right.
Really kill it, absolutely kill it. And silly price as well for such a class pedal. I mean, I bought it from Anderton's, which is a kind of big. I suppose it's the UK version of Sweetwater. Really, they're the go-to. They've got pretty much everything.
And they've got the captain. So
indeed, absolutely. And it was 165 UK. So for a pedal that is as good as it gets.
How many rubles is that?
Oh, about I don't know. I'll have to take my shoes and socks off to work that one out. So that was my kind of highlight. And to be honest, the other thing is I'm still kind of fanboying. I went to Abbey Road about 3 weeks ago. They did a 90th anniversary open day, and it was insane. They closed the whole of Abbey Road. There was no recording going on, and there was kind of this one-way walk at your own pace around all the studios through the control rooms, and they grouped people up in 10 as they arrived, and kind of as you got to the next control room, they sat you down and played you something through the desks, and then they had these kind of exhibitions set up in all the studios with all the gear. So you had like the number 17 recording desk, a console that had Dark Side of the Moon and most of the early Beatles stuff recorded through it, and then the Mellotron that played on Strawberry Fields, and literally you could lay your hands on these things. And so, and then the last thing that they played us was in the big Studio One, which is like a huge, the size of a sports centre, which is the orchestral room. They played us the Star Wars theme, which was recorded in there. Through the desk it was recorded on, and you're sitting there with this whole thing going on, and it honestly, it brings tears to your eyes.
Wow.
And so for the last week or 2 weeks, I've been doing a Star Wars quest, and literally and I've done it in story order this time.
Interesting.
And I just finished that. Not last night before. So that was my. So I now actually understand the story.
Did it make it better for you?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I've seen it. Obviously, I'm 50 years old. I've seen all the films, but because they come out in such a disjointed order, it's like, well, what's cool? You kind of, don't really. I'm not a complete Star Wars avid, but I now get it. Absolutely get it. That how, yeah. Because I was like, are the Republic bad, or is the Empire bad, or are they both bad? Are they both good? I don't know.
It's
and
kind
explains
of like
it all.
anything else. One thinks that they're doing the right thing, and the other thinks that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
except one's probably doing more of the right thing than the other.
yeah, except when they do the wrong thing.
Yeah. No, Death Star, it's going to be great. Free housing. Yeah.
For a bit.
Yeah. Anyways.
So that's my week.
That's cool. Hey, quick question about the broadcast. Did you get the AP or the dual?
No, I just got the dual. My deluxe is kind of dark enough as it is, and I know the AP. I'm a big Ariel Posen fan, so and he has I play quite a bit of slide as well. And he loves a deep dark tone, and not not
not a
quite the
fan of
vibe
that, personally.
I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the AP version is much. It has a much more sort of upper mids to it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, what, since we're talking, the show's about you, so we're going to ask you questions. What kind of amp you playing through?
It was a Tweed Deluxe. It's a 5E3.
Yes.
That I built with a Weber AP12, I think. It's their Alnico specifically kind of voiced for the 5E3, and it is killer.
Yeah.
It gets rid of all that farty bass thing. Usually comes from
Tony?
which we said you said we weren't going to mention that.
Sorry, Todd.
Are we off air? It gets rid of all that farty bass, because that usually comes from the speaker, because there's so much bottom end in the circuit.
Yeah.
The speaker doesn't normally cope with it, but this does, and it's so smooth.
That's great.
And
it probably pushes the air a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's in a walnut cab as well, which is a little bit special. Made by Zach Drummond Guitars, who is really worth checking out on Instagram. He makes the most insane, kind of precious wood acoustics and Telecasters. They are off the charts. The figuring on his things.
Wow.
Zach Drummond. I think he's based in Ireland.
Very cool.
I know he is. Yeah.
Well, speaking of UK-based stuff, the broadcast is UK-based.
Hudson Electronics.
Electronics. Have you, I guess since you all live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know him. Yeah, he's next door.
In Storybook Land. Is that? Have you talked to them? Have you reached out to them?
No. I mean, I'm a big fan of just supporting. People for what they do, and I rarely, make contact to get, deals on things. I'd rather just pay full price and support everybody down the line, because it's at the end of the day, it's not we're not it's not a massive corporate business. We're not ICI. Sure. And I just feel like I'm not paying dividends to directors. I'm paying people to buy school uniforms.
No, for sure. I love that.
So yeah.
That's something that we've talked about before. It's like, it's really awesome if you find something cool on Reverb, but if you can find something cool on Reverb and you can actually get it for a few dollars more from the actual builder, like that keeps our community going.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Used prices on good pedals. The depreciation is not enormous. On some of these,
especially yours.
Let's not go there. Hey? But obviously, if you're going to buy a Mosky or some Joyo or something like that, then you're going to lose 70% off the bat. But if you buy something like a Broadcast, you probably only lose 30% if you wanted to move it because you didn't get on with it. So it's not really that much of a big decision really to buy new.
No. The rest of the show is just going to be delightful because this has been awesome. But let's go over and check in with John, who just finished the purchase of his Spark amp, but Tony somehow finished his purchase first.
Oh, two.
I have faster fingers.
So does that mean you've now got you can now play it in quad?
Yes, it also means that he's knocked down 2 cinnamon rolls in the time that John's knocked down.
I think that's why I was able to place the order faster.
He's all sugared up. His fingers are moving faster.
That quarter inch of frosting on the top has enabled me to go super fast.
Oh, boy.
Moistened your fingers.
Yes. Very moist. My fingers are moist and tender.
Moist.
John,
go ahead.
So, if you take a look at my music week as the past 7 days, last weekend was 934 Festival. I've been on the music committee for the festival for the last 2 years. 2020 was kind of weird because it was just the bands and the music committee. This year we were open to the public again. And for those who don't know, 934 Gallery is a gallery in the Milo Grogan neighborhood, and the festival's their primary fundraiser for the year. It's a nonprofit organization. So great people, check them out. So that was Friday and Saturday. Sunday, Rare Buzz, myself and Brandon did the second annual pedal building clinic over at Secret Studio. So thank you to the folks who came out and kind of suffered with us as we built some pedals.
And that's Malaise Forever, yes?
Well, Brandon is the intern at Rare Buzz.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yep. So,
What did you build?
well, we built, we called it the Crimson Camel, but it was a pretty transparent clone of the Red Llama or the Craig Anderton, what's he call it? The fuzz, tube fuzz drive.
Yeah. Great little pedal, the Llama. Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
It always confuses me because I have the Jam Delay Llama.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Dalai Lama, but it's Delay Llama.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
always it's red, so I'm like, it's kind of a confusing thing for me. Only me. Anyways,
But I would say probably the highlight of the week. My better half had a pretty significant birthday on Tuesday. I won't say how old she turned, but she's my age.
Oh my God!
But
2020? Did she just turn 21?
21. Yep, she can finally drink. No, so Wednesday I surprised her. I let her spend all day Tuesday thinking that I'd forgotten. And then
That's treading in dangerous water, Monfrere.
But Wednesday we drove down to Cincinnati and saw Alanis Morissette on the 25th anniversary of the Jagged Little Pill tour, which I've seen a lot of shows, and that it definitely top 5. I mean, when
Really?
you factor in the nostalgia, Alanis was absolutely 100% of what she was 25 years ago. I mean, just an amazing show. She's still got it. I don't know if she ever lost it or ever didn't have it, but just an amazing performance. And Garbage opened, and Cat Power was the first
Cat Power
host.
is so good.
I love
Yeah.
Cat
Oh,
Power.
man.
Yeah, so it was a real
scares
steady lineup. And
Where was the show?
it was at Riverbend. And
Okay.
it was sold out, so it was me and 20,000 plus of my best friends, and everybody knew the words. So it was a rare incident where the crowd was probably louder than the band. I had trouble
Nice.
hearing the next day just because the crowd was so loud.
That's fantastic
Yeah.
for an artist to come out and get that back at
Yeah,
him.
25 years later. Wow.
That's incredible.
Makes me feel old now. Well, I am old.
Yeah. So as for me,
How about you, Todd?
Thank you, Tony. So one of our recent guests,
Do
Ian,
we include Todd in this, or do we just?
He doesn't
go
have
right
a
to the-
music week.
Oh, okay.
I have a ticket. I pulled a ticket. It's my turn.
Okay, go ahead. I insist.
So one of our recent guests, Ian Pritchard from Collector Emitter.
Yeah.
I caught a video of his that he put up about the Maxon FL9 flanger from early 80s. Yellow, bright, like a bright yellow, like almost a borderline yellowy, greeny, limey. Not you.
Nice. How's the scurvy?
Keep digging.
It was kind of a scurvy, limey green yellow.
Yes, the little the guy in charge of lightning fast reflexes on my left hand side shoulder is going like,
Say it.
hooray!
Say it.
Anyways, oh gosh, all that rigmarole for stupid
Maxon FL.
Thank you. So and it was the video. It just was absolutely delightful, and I said I rarely actually get to buy things because I've got a whole bunch of kids and all kinds of stuff. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to see if I can get. I love the sound of it. It was really fantastic. He did a great job of just being true to what it sounded like. Mm-hmm. And I just went on Reverb and just grabbed one right there.
Did you get a good score?
It's not. I don't often do that because usually somehow then I get pinched for it later. But I got a crazy good price on it. So that didn't make me feel super bad. Okay. Like I did feel super bad. Like I'm so bad for getting it because I don't usually buy things. it's tough. Anyways.
But instead you felt James Brown super bad.
Yes, I felt that kind of bad.
Yeah, excellent.
So I kind of excited.
Cool. You haven't gotten it yet, though.
No. And I think it's actually shipping from Japan.
Oh.
So, anyways, it's going to be here in a while. But
shouldn't be too long. Japan is actually a fairly fast shipper.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'll let you know when it gets here. I'll bring it in.
Bring it in.
But I've always liked the style of those pedals. I think it's got a really neat aesthetic. It's built in 1981. It's got the metal clicker thingamabobber.
That was the year you were born, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're very kind of Tron, aren't they?
They're neat.
Whole kind of style. Yeah. It's they're very of their time, but they kind of don't. They date in a really cool way, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And so I've always kind of wanted a Maxon. I'm like, that's the one I'm going to get.
Alrighty.
So, anyhow.
Done deal.
Yeah, Dunsky. Let's move on.
Hey, John.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, since we just both bought Spark amps, and if we needed to connect pedals to those Spark amps, even though I don't know that you would really need to, but let's just say you had to have a special wah or something in the front end.
Sure.
How would you, as an average consumer, connect to a Spark amp?
Well, Tony, I would say Tour Gear Designs patch cables would be the best choice.
You're going to have to be pretty close. Or not.
No, because they got the long ones. And actually, that's how I'm doing it at my house. I have the Spark amp on this my little platform, and I put the pedals in front of it, and I just use I think it's the 18-inch cable, and I go right into it.
Nice.
It's brilliant.
Wow.
So there you go. That was an excellent answer, and I'm glad you said that, because not only are Tour Gear Design cables available in a wide selection of lengths and shapes, they have the standard, was it the S, the U, the W?
No,
the,
well, it's a C
M,
and the S.
They have the M. They have the M and a whole bunch of other
All
shapes.
the other things.
But the best thing about them is they're flat.
Yep.
Flat as a crepe, as I'm told.
Well,
But in some circles,
told that.
I'm told that. But the connector parts, you know how you typically would have like one of those right angle things that just is huge and looks out of place. This is like teeny tiny.
It is as big as the actual jack, the circumference of the jack.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah. So go to tourgeardesigns.com/discount the guitar knobs, and you're going to save 10% on your entire order.
Excellent.
That starts to add up, especially because you're going to want to get a handful of these.
I would get a bunch. I mean, and they're really nice. They come nicely packaged. They're signed off as if they're human actually tested this.
That's right. All right, everybody, go check out tourgeardesigns.com/discount/the guitar knobs, and we thank Tour Gear Designs for sponsoring our 4 on the floor.
How about some of these?
1, 2, 3.
4 on the floor.
All right, Markus from Reeves Electro. We are super excited to hear your 4 on the floor.
4 on the floor, right? Well, obviously, top of the list at the moment. I'm still honeymooning with the broadcast, so that's an absolute, it's a killer pedal. So if anybody's got some hard-earned burning a hole in their pocket, I would highly recommend that one. Number 2, Greer Super Hornet.
I have that.
Okay.
Oh, that's another killer fuzz. I've got it on my board, and again, we were doing a version of Freddie King, California Blues last night, and it's kind of, we do it as a stepping out thing. So each one of us takes takes some bars and does our thing. So the drummer does a bit, and then the bass player does a bit, and then every time it's different. And I smashed the Super Hornet last night, and they just all stopped. I'm like, what?
Nice.
So it's like, no, you guys carry on. So that's a great. That is and again, good price. Octavius seemed to be, not super cheap for some reason.
Yeah.
But that's that, and the Greer. Nick built some absolutely killer pedals, and they're built. It'll outlast me, that thing.
Yeah.
So, which actually, at the rate I'm going, is not going to be that long. Anyway, it's another story.
So yeah, really quick on the Super Hornet. It is it's a little bit of a wider platform than most of his other pedals.
It is, yeah. So I love that look. So I've got a fairly small board. I think it's a 18 inch, maybe something like fairly small. Anyway, so I've got the three kind of oblong ones at the bottom, the jeweled. So I've got the Broadcast, the King of Tone, and the Super Hornet, and they just kind of sit there like the gang of three, and it's like, come on, we can take on everybody with these three.
That's awesome. That's
so
awesome.
they
Sounds
look
like
great.
you need some Tour Gear Designs small cables.
Yes.
Well, quite possibly. I've just been on their website, so I'm just having a look around.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so that's groovy.
Use the Guitar Knobs coupon.
Well, there's a big Guitar Knobs banner on the homepage, so I couldn't be far off it, really.
Awesome. The only thing that threw me off about what you said, and I don't know if Tony might have thought this too. I'll see if I get the look when you said, you do a stepping out thing, and I was like, all I could think of was like Joe Jackson stepping.
Oh no! Yeah, I get you. Yeah. So no, there's a Cream do a thing called stepping out.
Yeah.
And they all take turns to do about a 15-minute solo. That's I'm showing my age now, really.
Yeah, well, it was it was a fun thing that happened in my head, anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, we're all dressed in 80s power shoulder suits.
Yeah,
Excellent.
And,
How about number three?
Number three. Okay, so the jam pedals stroke that pedal show, Harmonious Monk. I've always had a love-hate relationship with tremolo. I absolutely adore tremolo, but sometimes you come to play it and you can't help but play at the tempo of the tremolo, or it gets in the way. And it's always been a thing, and I've always used it less than I'd want to, because I find it a bit distracting. But
it does kind of mess with your ears a little bit if you're heavy up on it.
Yeah, but absolutely. But this is the harmonic tremolo, which it's difficult to get your head around harmonic tremolo. But basically, what happens is that the signal comes in and then it's split into two, and it's EQ'd into kind of bass and an upper level, and then the phase is reversed on one. So when one is modulated, is the amplitude is going down, the other side is going up. So your volume kind of stays the same, and it just does this kind of swooshing, and it's a beautiful, beautiful experience. If you've not played harmonic tremolo, I really urge you to at least see if you can know somebody who's got one and try it, because it's just such a thing. It's kind of in between that and vibe. I kind of vibe is a little bit kind of special for certain things, but it kind of just, it says it's too much of a print on your tone, really.
Yeah.
Whereas the harmonic tremolo is
it just gives a little bit of I guess the closest thing I can think of is if there's just a you're outside and there's just the slightest breeze, it just kind of makes it a little bit nice.
Yeah, there's a bit of movement without it being intrusive. It's a really great effect, and I'm overusing it a lot at the moment, so that's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, for sure, that's great.
And number four is I don't know whether you've heard of Seeker Electric Effects over in Ventura County.
Seeker,
yeah. Seeker, yeah.
I saw you wearing a Seeker shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, that shirt, I bought that shirt and I got a free Mark I tone bender from him.
Oh, nice.
So, no, other way around, to be absolutely frank. Otherwise, everyone would say, "I'll have a T-shirt with that." But his there's a gang of guys building Mark I's at the moment around the world who are just doing crazy things. and the sort of authenticity of what they're doing, down to the new old stock parts, and they're it's just outstanding. And this thing is mind blowing. It really does. It's just Jeff Beck in a box. The Seeker Mark 1 tone bender. It's not always on my board because it's A, it's battery powered, and B, it's I guess it's one of those it's a very special tone.
It's a sound.
It's a sound which is not really kind of where I'm at gigging, but I've got some studio time coming up in a month or so with the band, so it will definitely be on the floor for overdubs. Secondary guitar stuff is absolutely perfect for that sort of thing.
Yeah,
where you I want that sound.
It's kind of like top shelf. Like there's a couple pedals out there that you could say you could equate it to, like, this is top shelf stuff. Not necessarily that it's better than everything else, but that it is made specifically for drinking neat.
Exactly.
That, as opposed to just throw that in the margarita mix. It's going to be, it's like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ice? What are you talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So that's very, very cool. I'm just curious. Have you, you mentioned some of the new old stock stuff. You've checked out R2R. I'm assuming,
I was going to say, as you guys get to do this week in, week out, I've got a few honourable mentions here as well, that's okay. R2R treble booster, got one of those, absolutely killer treble booster. I do use one of my own though, but it is outstanding.
It's allowed.
And Chris is great.
Yeah.
Spruce Gale. Killer pedal. And Joe-Yo, American Sound. Honestly, the best $30 you'll ever spend. If you haven't got some of any of the Joe-Yo Sound series, drop on them. They are brilliant.
American Sound, that's
the Fender.
Say like Fender in a box kind of thing.
Yeah, the tweed in a box thing. Honestly, they are. It is as good as an Iridium.
Wow!
I kid you not. And it pushes better than Iridium as well, so you can put stuff in front of it, and it really acts like an amp. So
wow,
$30, just
$30.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. Well, we always like honorable mentions and stuff because I think usually they're very well deserved, and it also broadens our spectrum, which is great. So that was a lovely 4 on the floor, as expected, and now everybody's like, get to it, man.
Enough.
Yes. So we've got the red dot sound Reeves Electro in front of us, and we've. If you still don't know what we're talking about yet, where can people go to check this out as we're talking?
I would say Instagram is where it's all at. So if you just get on Instagram and hit up at Reeves Electro, all one word, it'll come up like a nasty rash. So,
awesome. Well, we're gonna be just pinging and ponging around all over the place here. We definitely want to find out all about the pedals that you're creating and everything. Also, we do want to find out a little bit more about you and how you fell into this, because I know that we had a brief conversation that was incredibly interesting. And actually, you know what? Let's start there. Can we start there?
Yeah, start anywhere.
Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, how the world is on fire. It's on fire, baby, with Reeves Electro love right now, and that is very well deserved. But it sounds from our previous conversation like it kind of happened accidentally.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm in my mid-50s now, and I've been playing guitar since I was 12, really. And I've that combined with my father was fearless when it came to fixing things. He's a man that just was like, I've got 2 arms, 10 fingers. I'm as good as the man that built this. I can fix it, and he would. And so, you know, I was brought up with that kind of that just hit me by osmosis, and I just became a practical person, you know, because that's all I knew. So I'd always make things and build things and muck around, you know, even from the ages of 8 or 9, I was taking push bikes apart and, you know, putting different handlebars on them and all that sort of stuff. And guitars was just a natural extension of that. I would take guitars apart, build guitars, modify them, got into electronics, started to do, you know, pedals. And this was probably in the, I guess, mid-90s, I really started getting into building pedals. And I've had some periods in my life when I've been absolutely broke. And I'm like, oh, well, I want to build a pedals. Yeah, well, it's, you know, I think we all at one point have been there, you know, and I would literally get old electronics, scavenge them, harvest stuff that I needed, and then put a pedal together. And there was a point when I wasn't even able to afford Veroboard, circuit board, to actually build the thing. So I just thought, well, surely I can just connect all the components together. And I did, and the 25th one worked, you know, and it was kind of just something that I did for me, and I kind of got the bug of doing, and it was known back then as the dead bug style, because it looks like a whole jumble of just dead bugs in a box, really, and I always did it for myself, and thought, yeah, that's cool, and it was something that I was always doing. And off.
Really quick before you even go any further. Sure. In the event that people aren't able to see this right now, the special style that you're talking about isn't on a PCB board. It isn't on a Veroboard. They're all basically like suspended on a net of wire. Like, explain that a little bit.
So each component, whether it's a resistor or transistor or a capacitor, has copper legs to it, usually 2 or 3. And I use those legs just to connect to each other. And from experience, I've worked out how to make that kind of structurally sound as well, which is another part that a lot of people don't kind of appreciate, that you can build a pedal like this, but it'll flop about and vibrate and all sorts of things, and you'll end up with shorts. So it has to be structurally sound as well. So, yeah, I just literally bend the component legs to the angle that I need them, and connect them to another part of the, you know, circuit. So there's no PCB. It's just all the rawest form of the circuit that you could possibly get.
Man,
it's the way I see it.
It's beautiful stuff.
It's really something to see. But so, anyways, before I interrupted you, please continue on how you landed here.
Yeah, no, so that was the thing that I always had in the back of my mind. And then about 2 years ago, I thought, you know what, it's time. I'd always mucked around and done it for local friends, and, you know, done pedals for local musicians and mates' rates, and fixed their guitars and all that sort of stuff on a local level. And I thought, do you know what, it's time for me to actually give this a proper go and set up and, you know, build a couple of actual models of pedal and go for it. And I was just getting around to doing that, and I'd built my workshop in the garden, I suppose with a view to that, but just because I wanted a workshop. And then I was working in the travel industry. I've been in the travel industry for about 10 years, that was my grown-ups job. And COVID hit 18 months ago. That's a story we're all familiar with. Travel industry suddenly destroyed. There is no travel industry. And I was made redundant, given a nice package. And 2 weeks later, that pedal show featured 2 of my pedals, and I can honestly say it just went vertical. I mean, people say, oh, my business has gone vertical, and you think, yeah, whatever. But literally overnight, just everything changed.
That's incredible.
And it's been like that ever since. And I've actually had to kind of consider how I put pedals forward because I can't keep up. If I had my website open for sales all the time, it's just me, and I can't pass this. I can't take people on to do this because what I do is my own thing. So
it would diminish I think the inherent value of it, and I don't mean in dollar value, just the personal connection and the sentimentality.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I just have to restrict the sales now to certain days, and a big part of what I do is with my mailing list. So obviously, if anybody's interested in buying or getting hold of my pedals, the best way to do that is to go to my website, get on the mailing list. And then just wait for that email to come through that will give you a couple of weeks' notice on when my next 24 hours is. I call them waitlist Wednesdays. Mm-hmm. So it would be on a Wednesday. It'll be 24 hours. You can get on with no fighting, no bun fights of, there's only 10 left and they go in 50 seconds and all that sort of stuff. It's 24 hours. You can order at your leisure. And then you get on the wait list, which at the moment is about 70 odd days. And yeah, that's it. So it's they say, do what you love and you never work a day in your life. And I was always really cynical of those kind of, motivational memes. Because there's a huge chunk of luck involved as well. There's some people doing what they love and they're broke. I'm just very, very lucky. Yeah, and I feel blessed every day that I've been given this opportunity really to get my stuff out there.
Nice. Now, have you ever considered putting a clear or clear plexi cover on the back so people can admire that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I did it. Funnily enough, I did a giveaway. I think it was when I hit 2K followers on my Instagram last year. You can get plexi enclosures, fully clear enclosures. Zevex do a version of the Fuzz Factory in one, and it's a great idea, and it is probably the most repeated comment on my feed. The only issue is that Mr. Faraday would turn in his grave. It's so the Faraday's law is about radio frequency interference and things that take that on, which are vintage fuzz circuits, which is what I build, need a metal cage around them to stop that interference. So a plexiglass cover. I mean, it'd be nice to supply them with both, and it's something I kind of think about. But
I just wrote Tony a note. I said, "Would you please make me an acrylic cover for the back of this?"
Well, yeah, that's true. Actually, I mean, it is something that I maybe should get my finger out and do. But there's only so many hours in the day, to
right.
Do your thing, man.
I'm a bit of a control fanatic. I do everything myself. I mean, there's nothing outsourced. All the printing, all the packaging, the painting, the etching, everything is done myself. So the packaging has got some kind of rubber stamp prints on it, and
and the enclosures are acid etched, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So that's a process. When you look at them, you perhaps don't appreciate how much work goes into that acid etching. So obviously we're on a podcast, so I can't hold one up. But the premise is that I get a bare enclosure. I then screen print. I was a screen printer for 15 years in another life. So I've used lots of things that I've learned down the way. So the image is screen printed in reverse in acid resistant ink on a bare enclosure. Then it's dropped in the acid because I drop acid daily. And then, boom! I had to. I've got that one in red pen in my notes. I've got to drop that joke. So I'm laughing at the rubber plant as we speak. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so it's dropped in the acid. Then it comes out, and the screen print I then wash off, and that leaves the original finish.
Okay.
So and then it's top coated twice, and so there's a lot goes into the enclosures before I even start to do the voodoo inside.
Yeah, and especially and when people are talking about like, oh, if you just look at one, you say like, oh, that's one thing to consider for that. Well, you're doing runs of them, so there's multiples and mistakes happen and stuff.
It's consistency. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm and this is why. I mean, I started doing them with. Initially, you can use you can print them off onto toner paper through an inkjet printer, and then you transfer them on, and that's a really hit and miss process.
Yeah, with like mineral spirit, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, there's two ways of doing it. You can either do it with an iron or spirits. But I use the mineral spirits way. That
also works really cool on acrylic and plexiglass too, by the way.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure it does. Yeah. I just thought I just have to get my consistency up, and the screen printing thing was I was waiting to get. It's a numbers thing really, because the setup for screen printing is. I mean, that's probably the only thing that I outsource. There's a guy that makes up my silk screens. Because that needs some real expensive specialist gear.
Yeah.
So, but once I've got those, it's so fast to actually, I mean, I've got. Let's have a look. 96 enclosures, all printed and etched, ready to go,
and
various
and paid for already, I imagine.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I was going to ask.
Remind me.
I was going to ask about, and I'm assuming that you paint the insides the zinc chromate color. Is that something? Now. So I can tell you why aviation is painted on the inside. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, he listens.
It's a condensation thing.
Really?
Yeah, because. Especially with RAF stuff, or RAF, with Air Force stuff, well, they're all painted on. It's an initial paint for all aircraft, and then obviously the outsides are camoed, but the insides are usually left. It is a corrosion thing.
Okay.
But corrosion because of condensation, because of the heat differences when you're up in the clouds, and sometimes these things are uninsulated, and depending on their payload, some stuff sweats weird stuff, and so there we go. But it's not. I don't actually. It's faux zinc chromate. It's a Indian ivy.
It's foamate
acrylic. Yeah, foamate.
Zinc
foamate.
foamate.
I might. I'm nicking that.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say because so you could actually take these pedals up into upper altitudes and still use
that
them.
too as well. Yeah, obviously. Yes.
Yeah.
So, looking at the circuit on the inside of the pedal, when you start a new design, I would assume like we've got the red Dot Fuzz here in front of us. I assume like they're all laid out more or less the same. You figured out the way to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to figure out how to do that?
That's it. The red dot was a real pain in the arse, I have to say, to get right.
Because it's the red dot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It was winking at me for 2 weeks.
I can't believe I did that.
Because it's a silicon Mark II tone bender, and there are various iterations of that float around the interwebs, and none of them, in my mind, sounded quite like a tone bender. So I made it my mission, obviously, in the 7 days that I'd set aside for development for this to put that right. It took me about 4 weeks to get it right. But I am super pleased with it. So that was unusual. Usually it's around, I start by literally with a pen and paper, and just kind of, I get the schematic, the actual schematic, not a Veroboard, thing, but the actual schematic, and I don't know, I just have this knack of kind of being able to visualize dragging one junction across the page and kind of go, okay, so that junction can go down there, and I can bring that one up there, and I think in terms of the junctions rather than the components.
Okay.
Because obviously they're the important bits, because and I kind of slide a junction along that line, and so but it all starts on pen and paper, and then I'll start by roughing it out, and I find I usually breadboarding, which is for the uninitiated is like a plug board basically that you stick components in, and it kind of makes a circuit. Not the audio quality isn't superb, but it's very, very quick and really easy to adapt. So I usually spend a couple of hours breadboarding something just to make sure that I've got the circuit passing audio, and then I literally go straight on to hand soldering the pedal, because the way they're done, they're so easy to unsolder something and stick it in a different way until I'm happy with either the layout or the sound or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then once I've got that, I then say, right, let's make it pretty. So I then spend, another few days just kind of really tweaking the layout and making it, please my so it doesn't really trigger me too much,
Sure.
Yeah.
The red dot sound, I didn't really. Do you name the pedals after the parts?
Yeah, absolutely.
You also have the black hat sound, which looks like little black hats in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the transistors. I've got a huge stash of microelectronic transistors from the late 60s and up to the late 70s, and they were made
in a bunker, right, with a guard.
Absolutely, yeah. My cats guard them. That's the only reason I've got these cats. They're vicious. And they're made in the UK. These transistors. So near Wembley, in London. Well, they were, and I seem to have a real affinity for them. I absolutely love them, and I can get something out of these transistors. So cool. So the red dot sound is I've got. I don't know the quantities. I could tell you the weights of them that I've got. I've got that many. I buy them in kilos.
Wow.
Wow. So absolutely. So, well, with the black hat sound, I got caught out, and I started using a particular transistor called an ME4003. Which is really sought after, really difficult to get. And unfortunately, the black hat sound, I stupidly built this pedal using gain ranges from, or sort of the power of the transistor from either end of the range that these were made in. So when I get a batch of 100 of these transistors, I might only be able to use 10 or 15.
Yeah.
Which kind of shot myself in the foot, but it's an absolutely awesome sounding fuzz. So I'm not going to, kind of just say, no, I can't do it, but they're quite limited. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that again. So then I bought these red dot transistors.
All of the red dot transistors.
All of the red dot transistors, yeah, which are different. But now here's the thing. So the red dot is a kind of mythical thing. You hear of the NKT 275 red dot, and a few other red dot transistors, and people kind of that's the magic thing. I don't know whether people quite appreciate what actually that means. Back in the day when transistors were made on non-computer controlled equipment, they would spit out quite inconsistent results. So the transistors would go into a bin and then they'd be tested by a human. And the ones that came closest to within a certain percentage of their range, they hit it with a red dot and put that in a red dot bin. Then there was yellow, white, and green for different accuracies to the specified range.
So they'd use them. They wouldn't just kick them out. They would just say, "Well, this is a less tight range."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. So that's why the red dot. Actually, the only difference is it makes the builder's job easier, because if you've got red dots, they're going to be pretty tight. So you put that in, that's going to sound pretty much like the last one.
Wow.
I still test them to make sure, but you're not chasing your tail by going, oh God, the gain on this one is 40% less than the last one. I've got to change something in a circuit to make up with it and all that. So yeah, absolutely. So that's where the red dot thing comes from.
That's really neat. What a smart thing to do, and it's such a, I guess maybe a rudimentary method, just like
absolutely. Well, totally, yeah. Well, now obviously the transistor production is computer controlled to within an inch of its life. You can get transistors off, now off the production line, and one from 4 weeks ago is going to be within 5% of one that's made today.
Yeah.
It's a glorious thing, really, but they don't seem to have the same character, really. That's
really cool. I appreciate you sharing with that. I love learning that kind of stuff. So you're pretty much locked into. You love the fuzz circuitry and stuff. Is that where you're gonna just kind of stay, or are you branching out? Or
no, I mean the next pedal that I've got that I've kind of started rudimentary work on really is I love tweed amps. You might have worked that out. I'm building a dual tweed overdrive.
Oh boy.
Which is kind of capable of going from nice clean, well not clean, but nice kind of steady bassman type tones all the way up to Neil Young just on 12,
wow.
all the way up. So that was going to be called the Leo for obvious reasons, because I was born in July. Well, that's what I'm going to say if anybody asks me.
Sure,
anyway.
sure.
So, and it'll have like a headroom switch, so you'll be able to put it on 12 watts or like 22 watts and maybe like 60 watts. So you kind of get the headroom of a Tweed Deluxe or of a 22 watt amp. I can't remember the names of the amps now. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. So it gives you and it just gives you that kind of that range of headroom, and then there'll be probably like 15 or 20 dB boost on one side, which will just push it into that. If you've got it set on the Tweed Deluxe kind of 12 watt setting, it'll just start to cave in and do that whole kind of thing that Neil Young does. I love Neil Young's tone. Absolutely adore what Neil Young does with that one amp. I mean, he uses that Tweed Deluxe as his preamp. Because he mics that again, I'm going to nerd out about Neil Young's system now, so stop me if you get bored. But so he goes into this 5E3, it's mic'd up, goes into a mixing desk separate to front. This is when he plays I don't think he does this now, but when he used to play the big stadiums, it would go into a separate mixing desk from front of house. Then he had these two absolutely ginormous Magnatone stacks, which he bought from Magnatone after they did an exhibition somewhere, and they're like 15 foot tall, and they've got
those things are incredible. They've got 15s, 12s, 10s, horns.
Absolutely.
It's I think,
and that's his front of house tone.
Yeah.
He doesn't go in the front of house speakers. That's it.
Oh, well, there
he goes out of those. Yeah. So yeah, sorry, I interrupted. Yeah, go on.
No, that's I was just because we one of the NAMM shows I was talking to one of the Magnatone reps, and we were talking about that particular amp and whether or not they would ever make a reissue of that, and they said no. No.
Yeah. We haven't got enough trucks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
But and he so that, like I say, his little Tweed Deluxe is literally like his preamp, then goes into a big power, into the desk, into a big power amp, and through these speakers, and then everything else that the band is doing is going through front of house. So
wow.
So and that kind of saggy, broken but still spiky and cutting tone that he has when everything's turned up on that amp is it's just
pretty
it's
magic.
just that's kind of my tone on Nirvana, really. So
That's awesome, man.
Nice.
This has been absolutely a delight talking with you.
No, it's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, we will definitely be having you back on, assuming you're willing to do so.
anytime. Yeah, absolutely.
Look, you're going to have to get yourself one of these. As a pedal enthusiast, as someone who is modestly trying to get things that matter or that have unique value or whatever, this is top shelf stuff. We're going to transition over to find out what John has for us today.
John,
yes.
John?
That's me.
Yes, Jared isn't here, so John's going to fill in for Jared the best he can.
Is he going to sing it?
I'm going to try.
Okay.
Would you rather?
All right.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's similar.
I was transported.
Transported to where we don't know, but thank you, John, for doing that. Please.
Buckle up.
Yeah.
You're about to go.
Okay, Buttercup.
So you're walking down the street and you meet a genie.
I love genie stories.
Yes.
The genie says, I will make you one choice because of what those jerks, the tone thieves, keep doing to you. You can either go back in time to any year and acquire all the vintage gear you could possibly want and come back to the present. The price of your journey through time would be that you could never purchase any new gear from the present going forward ever again, not even a pick. Or you can stay in the present with an unlimited budget, but you couldn't ever purchase any vintage gear again. Sounds like this genie isn't so great after all. There's always a catch. And that question is from Sam Jett. I'm going to give him a little shout out. He knows what he did.
Yeah. Sam's been a really great contributor.
Yes, he has.
As of late. I've had several conversations with him, and
Is any relation to Joan?
Maybe. I don't know. Tony with the low balls, always.
Yes. The low-lying fruit.
Anyways, wow. All right. So thanks, Sam, for sending that in. I think that is a great question.
It is.
Tanya, what would you like to do with this?
Without a doubt, I would go back in time, grab everything.
Huey Lewis just grabbed the mic, go, what?
What? I'm going to go back in time. But to me, knowing what I know now,
yes.
If I knew what I knew now, even when I was in the 70s and 80s when I was playing, I would be a much richer man than I am right now.
Sure. You would have been poorer then.
I would have been poorer
richer
then,
now.
but much, much richer now.
Yes.
It's that Michael J. Fox. It's that Michael J. Fox moment, isn't it? You know.
That's right. I would have taught.
Keep.
I was
Yeah.
Okay. I lost it.
So what would
what would I do
in mind?
Yeah.
What would be your number one? Like, what
well,
would the
I
thing
would go
be?
back to like late 50s.
Yeah.
And then just maybe snag a couple of Flying V's when they couldn't give them away.
Yeah.
Probably a couple of.
That's the first one you'd take.
I'd take a V. I'd take an Explorer.
You wouldn't take like a 59?
Well, of course.
Oh, you're getting there.
I'm getting there.
Jeez. Well, I mean, we don't need the catalog of what you're doing.
I would grab
Christ,
as
you only
many
got 2 hands.
late 50s Gibsons.
You got 2 hands.
I got 2 hands.
One in each hand. What are you grabbing?
Oh, come on.
First
That's not
burst,
fair. He said
obviously.
as much. He said as much.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, we get the gist.
Time machine is a school bus.
I would grab. Now, what I probably,
What would you miss about right now?
what would I miss about right now? I mean, some of the innovations, things like amplifiers and pedals and things that are probably, dare I say, better than what was available back then. But there was some cool stuff out there in the, in getting into the 60s.
Sure.
But again, a lot of it was experimental at that time. I think we've come to a point today that, things are, whether it's a pedal or an amp or even guitars to some degree, I think they are better made than they were in their infancy. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would miss. But, I could definitely get by with, a couple of late 50s Gibsons and some
So
cool
basically, you're
amps.
just going down to your basement.
Yeah, I wish.
Okay. I mean your shop. I mean your vault. In neither of those places.
No, I'm not. I don't think I have that much stuff.
All right, John, how about yourself?
Well, this is kind of a toughie, but I might cheat a little bit here.
No cheating.
Oh, well,
the genie's not going to like it.
It's not cheating. It's just kind of maybe playing the rules, not how they were intended to be taken. It says I can go back in time to any point and gather up whatever I want.
Right.
So if I went back in time 24 hours, I'd kind of get the best of both worlds. Now, granted, I wouldn't be able to get anything that comes out from here on out, but I could have that same 59 Les Paul that Tony's walking out the door with, plus any modern equipment that I'd ever want. I just would be limited from here on out to never getting it again. Now, if you're going to hold me to it, I would
That's
probably...
some quantum physics crap right there, man.
Wow.
But if you would hold me to it, and the intent of the question, I would say I would probably have unlimited budget modern going forward, just because, although nostalgia is great, from a purely functional standpoint, I feel like we're better off now than we were then. And if all I'm doing is playing this stuff and not putting it up on Reverb, I think we've got better equipment now than we did back then.
All right. Fair.
That's arguable.
Marcus?
Yeah. Okay. I would go for modern gear. Simple reason is that, okay, let's split it into pedals and guitars. Pedals, guitars, and amps. Vintage gear. I think the reason they are so there's such kind of reverence towards them is because the good stuff has floated to the top. They were, especially with guitars and amps to a degree, they were massively inconsistent. And there's probably more crap ones than there are good ones. So if you're back in the day, it's a real shootout to get a good one. Whereas if you buy something, really high end, you go to Novo or any of the guys that are making, Daddy Mojo or any of those guys that are making really, really top end vintage inspired guitars, you're going to get something as good, and you put a Brown and Wound pickup in it, you're away, Pedals wise, you can buy some pretty good vintage replicas these days. I was talking about myself. Oh, in fact, yes.
Do you know anyone?
Well, yeah. But no, you look at Seeker, for instance, he's making like-for-like replicas of the Mark I. He now makes one called the System, which is Macari's. Back in the day, Macari's of London, who were the guys that kind of they're the godfathers of fuzz. You know, they were the guys that produced all the tone benders and sold them. They did a competition back in the 60s. They gave away a Mark I fuzz. A lad bought it. It was a band called The System, and he scratched it on the side. And Macari's bought it back recently. And that's called the System tone bender, and somehow somebody's managed to sneak out the values for that. And he's so Seeker's building a literally component for component version of that, and it sounds identical, and it won't break.
Yeah,
you know.
And if
so
that ever goes
yeah.
this for sale, it'll probably be on like Sotheby's or something.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, whereas you pay proper money for a Seeker version, but at the same point, it's it's not arm and leg and a kidney.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd go for modern every time, because you can get to within, I reckon, 10% of the experience of playing vintage with modern equipment. Plus, when you're in a club playing live, do you notice the difference?
Probably
with all that going up. I mean, in your soul you do.
Yeah,
and that's
we've talked
a
about
whole
that
nother
extensively. Actually, I think
that's a whole nother experience. But yeah, I'd go modern. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. So you said these modern reproductions of vintage bits and pieces. Do you think that the modern reproductions sound exactly like those vintage pieces when they were new, or how they do now?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, Wood over
Tony's
many
proud of himself about that question, by the way.
No, absolutely. Well, it's a valid question, because Wood, if we're talking specifically guitars.
Well, I'm talking electronics now.
Oh, okay. I think with vintage components, they drift.
Yep.
Over time, and also the accuracy of those components was less. So everything that came off the production line had its own vibe. So I think, when people talk about the Mark I tone bender tone, or the fuzz face tone, it's quite a wide spectrum. So it's actually, everybody's got their own idea of what it sounds like, and to a degree, everybody's right, because they all sounded slightly different. So I think, if you've got something that's modern and is in the ballpark of a fuzz face, chances are that back in the day, a fuzz face that came off the production line was also in the ballpark. That's why Jimi Hendrix went in and tried out 10 before he said, I'll have that one.
That's right.
Whereas now, you can buy what you can buy, you pick, Jimmy would have been on YouTube going, oh, I'll have a Dunlop now, or I'll have that one or that one, because now they're all consistent. It's just what brand you want.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Very interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's it, because I know myself. Well, it pertains to guitars too, because, newer reproductions of old instruments never quite sound like, if you picked up the vintage piece and the modern reproduction, it feels different. It sounds different.
With guitars, I think old wood is the only big difference, in that the resins have crystallized, the oils have evaporated, everything has become, not just the moisture is driven out, but the minerals have, and
There's
everything
that word
is,
again.
Yeah, yes. Oh, you got me. I tried. But yeah, that's probably the only thing with vintage guitars, is they just have that snap.
Yeah.
And that depth of resonance that a modern guitar doesn't achieve, because they're just ready for it.
Yep. Todd, are you going to weigh in on this?
Well, let me tell you about this. I'm going modern too.
Tony Island again.
Tony Island. I think that for me, like, I'm never going to be able to afford vintage stuff. I just don't see that in my.
Yeah, but the genie's going to send you back, and you can come bring back everything.
But aside from that,
okay,
I'm so enamored with the creativity that we are swimming in right now. Such as Markus and what he's doing with his pedals. I mean, I can't. People are tired of me talking about like the pedal that I have, the Red Dot, or Chase's guitars, or Chase Gullett's guitars, or I could go down the list. Almost every single person we've had on the show, they've been on because we're really excited about that, and that is a huge part of my life now. Like, I really value that excitement and the enthusiasm and the community and everything, and I wouldn't give that up for anything. So, as cool as old vintage gear is, I'm absolutely in love with where we are right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So,
yep.
All right. Well, that was a really good question, Sam. You
just one side question.
Sure.
Does the genie sound like Robin Williams? It's got to be Robin Williams, isn't it?
It has to be. I was going to say, if it's not Robin Williams, we're not even going to have this discussion.
I don't know. I think I might like Barbara Eden better.
No.
I'm with you on that one. All right. Tony's going. We got to thank a few people here.
Yes, we do, Todd.
This is an important
This
part
is
of
an
our
important
show.
part because at this point of the show, we
At
like
this
to
point of the
thank,
show, we do like to
thank.
Go ahead.
At this point of the show, we like to thank a very special group of people. These are our executive producers. Now, someone out there might be wondering, what is an executive producer and exactly how can I become one? It's quite simple. You go over to patreon.com/the guitar knobs and check out a couple of options for you to become a sponsor, a patron of this very podcast. There are a couple different levels. Each level comes with a bevy of thank you gifts, things like T-shirts and barefoot buttons and picks and stickers and keychains and flashlights and all the good stuff. Mm-hmm. But as an executive producer, you get all that great stuff. But there's one thing more. John?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing. That's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers: Tom Brazen, Darren Gregory, Doug Christ, Ken Sayers, Brian Robison, Michael Senchuk, Stefan Lamb, Anthony Lathrop, John England, Brad Partridge, John Esterly,
Hey, y'all.
Justin Jones, James White, Matt Hart, Bill Gola Guitars, Richard Kendall, Tig Harmon, John Jackson, Jason Roush, Gary Cooper, Mark Garton, Elad Mizrahi, Magadi, Trevor Gunberg, Rick Calhoun, Anthony Gemolero, John Halverson, and this week we have a new executive producer.
Yeah.
He listened. He visited Patreon site, Mr. Drew Lopez.
Right on.
Welcome
Thank you,
aboard.
Drew.
You are in very, very good company, my
Yeah,
friend.
had some great conversations with him, too.
Excellent. But wait, Todd, there's more because, we've got executive producers, and then we've got some serious executive producers. We like to call them our grand poobahs. These folks have a special suite on the penthouse floor. They like to bathe into miniature swimming pools of orange liquid of their choice because it matches the fez.
Yes.
You get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're following.
Good.
So special thanks to these grand poobahs: Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Science of Sound, Cody Foster, Sean S., Tommy Manasco, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys, Tim Nowak, Tyler Rhines, James Pennington, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, Johnny Morales, Mel Sanders, Bob Crouch, Sam Jett, who provided a lovely Would You Rather, Michio Murakishi, Martin Cliff, Hex Matos, and Michael Van Zant. Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you.
All right. Excellent. So good.
You boys are
good.
so slick.
I guess that's what you'd call it.
We're
moist.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy. There we go. All right. So Tony, where can people find your things?
Well, I think if you went over to pickguardian.com and checked out some of the things I have available there, but by and large, what I do is custom work. So shoot me an email, let me know what you need, what you want to do, material you want to use, all the good stuff. I might even have a good tip or two for you. So shoot me an email, let me know, and I'll take very good care of you.
Awesome. And let's see here. How about John?
Well, you can find me on the web, rarebuzzer.com, BUZZER.com. I'm on all the socials at rarebuzzer, spelled the same way. Got some neat stuff coming very, very soon, so now would be a great time to sign up for email lists, get the follow in. Next couple of weeks, neat stuff.
Awesome. And Markus, we need to know where people find your stuff.
Yeah, obviously reeveselectro.co.uk is my website, and all the socials again, specifically Instagram at Reeves Electro. Hit me up, hit the follow, and that's where you can see all the updates. So if you buy, buy a pedal, I document each build. I send an email to you when you go in the build queue. You get your serial number then, so you can see when I start building your serial number on Instagram. You'll see some photos of it being built. So
nice.
That's
very
that's how that kind of works. So you get the kind of I like to wind people up and get them teased and ready.
Perfect. You can shoot me an email, Todd at theguitarknobs.com. We'd love to hear from you. And you can also direct message me on Instagram at guitarknobs. We would love to hear your 4 on the floors. We'd love to hear your would you rathers.
Yeah,
Send
absolutely.
us the stuff, man.
Send it.
And if there's builders that you would also like to see on here, you've got any shout outs, send us those too. We're always connecting with new people. And just so you know, some people don't want to do it. So that happens too. So we're not neglecting. If you have sent it and you're like, well, you never sent me, you never got the person on that I suggested. Yeah, we always try. So anyhow, Markus, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a delight.
Thank you. Just one last thing.
Yes.
You said about shout-outs. I'm actually a member of a builders guild called the 9-Volt Nation. And there are 9 of us. And if you look at 9V Nation on Instagram, you'll see who's involved in that. It's a new thing. We are actually going to be doing some podcasts and some informational YouTube stuff and a few other interesting bits and pieces as builders, mostly nerdy buildery stuff. So check out all the guys involved in that. 9V Nation.
Yeah. Well, now you got 3 more followers immediately on that.
Brilliant. Yeah. Anyway, I really appreciate you asking me to come on the show. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Todd.
Absolutely.
It's been a complete gas, a real privilege to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Have a fantastic Guitar Week and subscribe. Yeah. Tony just got here and he must have combed his hair today because he looks extra pretty. So.
Oh, okay.
That's what took so long.
Damn it, Tony.
Damn you, Todd.
$10. I was right, you dingus.
Say it, Todd.
Solderless. No, you're just going to make fun of me.
This is actually something I mean to bring up, the fact that people over the Atlantic can't say the word properly at all. It's got an L in it. I've got my cup of tea in my Abbey Road Studios mug. I'm ready to go. So we're all good.
You just need a scone, and we're...
Yes, scone. Oh, now don't start me on pronunciation of that one.
I did that on purpose. Yeah.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
Yeah.
You ready to go there, homeboy? Sorry, Marcus.
Yeah. Hey, it's been a while since I've been called that. So I was like,
Hey, was the record button supposed to be on?
Shut up.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.